I think that it's normal to feel unprepared when you take on a big new responsibility in your life. But there's a difference between inevitable unpreparedness and avoidable unpreparedness. And this is a topic that feels very close to my heart right now because back in April, we adopted our beautiful dog, Frances, who is the love of my life. I was never a dog person before, and she has changed everything about the way I see the world and the way I feel about myself and fucking everything. I love that girl to death. And one of her brothers, who was also adopted at the time, was recently returns to the shelter for the second time because of excessive barking. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't have all the details, but I do know that it makes me feel very angry and very sad. And I also can't help but think about what could have happened to my dog, who I love so much, if somebody adopted her who was unprepared in the avoidable ways. So I want to talk a little bit about the ways I was unprepared, the ways we were. So when we got Frances, I knew that it was going to be a lot of work. But I was so surprised right away by how consumed I felt by emotion for her. Before we adopted her, it was just me and my husband. And I had previously been, and still am, very passionate about work. And I'm an ambitious person. I'm a person with a lot of big feelings. And it felt really strange to all of a sudden have something come in and consume so much of my mental space and my heart space. I'll never forget what my sister said to me though at that time, which was, maybe this is what you need, Alexandra. And I really opened myself up to that. And it's true that what at first was the most overwhelming part of having a dog has become the thing that I believe has saved and changed my life. Brian and I both knew we wanted to take training very seriously with our dog. We thought she was going to be much bigger than she is, and she still might grow, but we thought maybe like 70 pounds. And we didn't want to have a 70-pound dog who doesn't listen and who jumps on people. The jumping on people, I was really concerned about that. I knew we were going to take training seriously, but I was unprepared for the way it would feel at first when Frances did not know anything. And I was like, how the fuck are we as humans going to teach this dog with a mind of her own how to listen to us? How does it literally work? So at first I felt kind of unprepared by just the sheer insanity of the concept of training a dog. Now that we've been doing it and we've worked with people, I understand it works really well. And this is maybe related to the first one, but I was unprepared for like the fear of when something's wrong. At first, when Frances would get sick, we had so many really expensive emergency vet visits when she was really young because something small would happen and we'd be panicked that something was going to happen to her. But I was maybe unprepared with how scared I would feel and how helpless I would feel when I didn't know what was wrong with her. Now, 9 months in, I know my dog really well. Like, we know when something is wrong. I know her really well, and I wasn't sure if I would ever know her. And you do. When you are attentive to your dog, when you build a bond with your dog, like, you will get to know them and things won't feel so surprising and scary. I think where the unpreparedness is avoidable is if you are not prepared to learn. You do not need to be perfect, but you do need to be committed to learning for your dog. I don't know all the details of what Hero's barking was like that he was returned. It's hard for me right now to tap into my empathy